So a lot of you have had a near violent reaction to portrait videos. And, oh, hold on 1 second. Let's see, how's that? All right. So a lot of you didn't really think I was gonna film. You did think I was gonna film in portrait the whole time, didn't you? Yes, I know you did. It's okay. It's all right. Listen, a lot of you have had a near violent reaction to portrait videos. Nearly 100% of the people that commented on my portrait FPV video commented that they hated it. But there was an interesting thing about this whole experiment, right? Because it was an experiment. There were a lot of people that really liked it on IGTV. And IGTV is Instagram TV, and it is portrait only. There probably will never be a landscape mode. So I posted it on IGTV, and everybody thought it was awesome, but they could only view it on this thing, right? They could only, it was the whole phone. It took up the whole screen. So then I posted it to Facebook, and almost universally, everybody hated it. And I mean, not only hated it, but had a ridiculously violent reaction to the video. Like to the point where some of my friends that I know really well, people like to give me a hard time, but I mean, they were really giving me a hard time. Friends that typically are relatively non-partisan with their opinions were exceptionally partisan with this opinion, which is don't do portrait videos. Most of you said ever. And I think that that is really an interesting concept. Now, why is that so interesting? Because if it was viewed on this thing, people seem to like it. If it was viewed on this thing, people seem to hate it. And that's obviously because if you look at, this really is a better portrait experience, right? I mean, this doesn't look bad. This actually looks pretty natural. If you look at this video on the desktop, that's just pretty awful. It only takes up a portion of the screen. It feels narrow and cramped. Now, people have dedicated entire YouTube videos to don't ever do portrait video. And I would say if your target audience is Facebook or YouTube, don't do portrait video. Even though actually, interestingly enough, YouTube just announced that it supports portrait video natively. It doesn't put black bars on the side, it scrolls it, whatever. People hate it, right? Most everybody that watches YouTube, even on a phone, they rotate the device. But when it comes to a native platform like IGTV, which is portrait only, I think there's actually some interesting possibilities there. If you go back and watch this whole video, I'll see if I can post a link to the IGTV. But if you go back and you watch this, there's actually a lot creatively that you can do with that tall scheme, right? So I was able to get the whole Chemex in there, and it pretty much filled the shot. And then there was just a little bit of mist coming off the top. I really liked the look of that. The way the light came down and actually bounced off the glass. And honestly, when viewed on a portrait device, I thought it was a pleasing experience. But then that same pleasing experience off of a portrait device, you get it onto the computer and it's like, okay, that's all right, that's okay, but there's so much other stuff that's taking away from it, right? So portrait video really only works if it takes up the whole screen. And I think if we really stop and think about it, the same can be said for landscape, but our devices natively support landscape. Our TVs, our computers, and our phones natively support landscape. And so it's easy to get them into that, full screen takeaway where there's no bars, there's no distractions. So For those of you that hated the portrait video on Facebook, I won't post it again past this little trolley bit. But for those of you that have never checked out IGTV, I recommend it. I think it might have some interesting possibilities for you. It might just be a flash in the pan. It may go away and never ever show up again. But I think creatively, I think there's something to be said for it. There are shots that you can get in portrait video that it's harder to get in portrait or in landscape video. Just like there are shots to be had in portrait photography that there are shots that are better off in landscape. So don't hate on it yet. Give it a shot, but that's what I think. Y'all have a great day and I'll talk to you later. Bye.